Hello and welcome to Meet Our Makers, an artist interview podcast produced in association with Beats Per Minute. I'm your host, Jeremy J. Facette. On this episode, we get to meet Jess Williamson. Jess Williamson is a singer-songwriter from Texas who has just released this year her fifth album, and also probably her most acclaimed album yet, called Time Ain't Accidental. In this chat, Jess and I do talk a lot about that album, which came out back in June, but in a nice twist from my usual conversations, we were able to be more reflective on the year as opposed to anticipatory. So we get to talk about what these songs from Time Ain't Accidental mean to her now, in the wake of them, versus in the lead up. We talk about touring, we talk about vulnerability in songwriting, and how on this album she tried to be a little less precious in the recording studio by embracing her own natural voice and welcoming imperfections. We also touch on rediscovering her love of her native Texas. We touch on who would be on her country Mount Rushmore, and her dream about Adrianne Lenker. So stay tuned for that. It was a really fun conversation, a little bit circuitous in the best way, and I was really grateful to have this little bit of time with Jess Williamson. So thank you for listening. Please enjoy. This is me meeting Jess Williamson. Oh, I have my coffee too. I just made it.
Oh, what are you having?
This is some dark roast. I don't know.
That's nice. It looks like you have some creamer involved.
I do.
Based on the color.
Yes, I have like a vanilla cream because
Cool.
I'm not a big coffee snob and I don't like coffee enough to have it black.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're not a total purist.
No, I'm really not. I've never been able to get on board.
You can probably tell that I also am not a purist.
What is that, your whole thing?
This is an iced oat milk latte from
nice.
a coffee shop.
Mm.
A coffee shop that doesn't use straws. So it's got the like sippy cup situation that I always spill on myself, and I've already spilled it on myself.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what advancements we make in plastic engineering. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Like you'll probably, that was a clean sip.
Yeah, no, I'm usually good at it, but if I get at all distracted, it's like
I know, or like sometimes I'll have to mix it myself because whoever made it didn't really mix it well, and so I do the stir thing and it just goes everywhere.
Yeah,
like that's
not exactly what you're talking about.
That's not useful. Though I do appreciate eliminating straws in theory. In theory, yeah. Although paper straws are bad too; they dissolve in my coffee. So
I know they're like disgusting.
I know. I don't know what the winning situation is.
I guess carrying your own glass straw at all times.
That's ideal. Yeah. Do you remember like years ago during the Obama administration when he like gave out phones?
No.
Oh yeah, there was I don't know how legit this is, but there was a video of like people receiving like government issued cell phones and they like jokingly called them Obama phones.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. So we should have Biden straws.
That's such a
like let's do it. Save the planet.
That's such a good idea.
Yeah, I don't know why no one saw that. Anyway, this is not a coffee podcast, believe it or not. But I love a good tangent, and starting off with a tangent tells me that we're in for a nice chat. So thank you again. I'll say again in case I cut off myself at the beginning. Thank you, Jess Williamson, for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. It's kind of fun, every year I've done this is my third, I think, like coming into end of year time doing the show, and I haven't been able to do this as much as I want, but it is fun when I get to like catch up with someone who had something earlier in the year and then kind of just like we're kind of just hanging out at the end of the year and sort of talking about what happened these past few months, because usually I talk to people who are on the cusp of releasing something or it's coming in a few months. But for you, your last record, Time Ain't Accidental, came out months ago in June.
Yeah, came out June 9th.
It came out in late spring. Feels like a real summer record, but it came out in late spring. And here we are in November on the precipice of holiday season, talking about the year you've had.
That's so fun. Now that you put it that way.
Yeah,
I don't usually get to do this either. Most of the chats happen in the lead up, like you're saying. So now we get to reflect.
Exactly. Yeah, we get to reflect. We get to be introspective. Yeah, I mean, it is fun getting to talk to people when like I've heard an album and like maybe writers have heard the album, but no one else has heard the album. And so we get to talk about things that aren't out yet and like what they're excited about people hearing. And that's always fun too. But I do like these reflective end of year moments. And you've had a big year or two, really. So I'm glad you're here.
What'd you say? Big year or two? Is that what you said?
Or two, yeah.
I know. It does feel like kind of a big year or two. Totally.
Because was it last year you had the Plains record?
Yeah, like 1 year ago. Like 1 year ago, we were on tour.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of been like go mode ever since Plains kind of got announced, which was July 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was kind of Plains season. And then pretty much not long after that, I announced my record. Mm-hmm. And in the in-between time, I was doing all the behind the scenes stuff, like making music videos, shooting the album art, you know, getting everything ready.
Yeah.
So this is like kind of my downtime here at the end of the year. I mean, I have a couple little things coming up. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited that we get to reflect.
Yeah, being reflective, pausing, you know, it's not something we get to do all the time. So thank you for coming and pausing with me.
Thank you for the opportunity.
And you are about to go on a tour early next year, but yeah, you are kind of in this sort of like in between moment right now. So I'm happy I could catch you. All right. So as we mentioned, Time Ain't Accidental came out in June this year on Mexican Summer. So now that you have released it, you've done a few videos, you've done a lot of promo, you've toured it quite extensively. How are you feeling about the world of Time Ain't Accidental now in the aftermath versus the lead up?
It's been really cool to talk to people that know the album. I think that's probably the most rewarding thing now because I got to go on tour all over America and into Canada a little bit this year. And, you know, I'm really big on going to the merch after the show and like talking to people. And, you know, it was like we had COVID, so there was no touring. And then there was like the era of like COVID touring, where it was like I did a few tours, but it was really like, you know, masks and like don't go like talk to people, like, you know, because everyone's trying to not get sick, obviously. And this year was the first time where, you know, I was just like, fuck it. Like, I'm going to go to the merch every night. I'm going to talk to people. And I haven't gotten to do that in years. And so it was so cool to meet people and talk to them. And people brought me things, like people brought me presents. Like people had me, one of the things that surprised me the most that started happening is people are bringing me Raymond Carver books to sign for them. They want me to sign their Raymond Carver books, which seems a little bit blasphemous, but also I'm happy to do it and touched that like anyone would even, you know, put me and him in the same sentence. I mean, I realize I like reference him in a song, but
yeah, I mean, I was gonna say
never
I'm glad that the average concert goer is even finding a Raymond Carver book and like has a copy of it. I don't know if they'll ever read it. Maybe it's just for the signing, but hopefully they read it. Crack it open.
Well, hopefully, right? Maybe so. I didn't even think about that. Like, I have this song, the title track of the record, Time Ain't Accidental, which talks about reading Raymond Carver at a pool. And it's like true. I was reading a book, a real physical book. And maybe this will encourage people to crack open a real physical book.
Let's do it. I mean, I'm an English teacher in my daily life, so.
Oh, really?
So yes, please crack open a book.
What do you teach?
I teach 11th and 12th grade English.
What books do you guys read?
Well, my juniors are about to get into The Great Gatsby, and
oh my gosh.
and my seniors are at the end of Canterbury Tales and about to get into Macbeth. So
Cool.
Yeah. So
One of
yeah.
my favorite lines from a book ever is from The Great Gatsby.
Mm.
And I read that in high school too. And I'll always remember it because I actually wrote it on my bedroom wall. Um, because I had kind of like a cool mom that would just let me and my friends like draw all over the walls, like in my bedroom. And the line, I wonder if you will know it
I hope
because
so.
you're in the book. It's and we drove on towards death in the cooling twilight.
Oh, that is a good one.
I don't remember the context. Do you?
Yeah, they drive a lot in that book. I don't remember exactly where it is, but
I
yeah,
need to
that's a good
reread it. I
one.
haven't read it since high school.
I will say, and this is not just because I'm an English teacher, but I read it in high school, obviously, too. And like, I thought it was fine. Like, I liked it. And then I read it again when I started teaching because I was about to teach it. And I was like, well, shit, I haven't read this in, 8 years. Um, and then I read it again as an adult and I was like, this is like the best fucking book. Like, it's
Wow.
so good. Like, even the line you just remembered, like his language is just beautiful. It's
Hmm.
beautiful. And that is something I think that my kids don't fully appreciate,
Maybe they will,
but
though.
I hope
That was
so.
the age for me. That was the age where I started to get really into books and like words and poetry. Like we were reading a lot of like, I think in 11th grade, what we did was like a lot of postmodern literature. So I think it was
Mm,
like Great Gatsby, like poetry, like E. E. Cummings,
right, right.
that kind of stuff. And I was like
Hemingway,
blown
yeah.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Do
do.
your students know about your podcast?
I don't like tell them about it, but they find stuff out. Like just today, actually, literally just today, the student that I've had for a year and a half, who knows me pretty well, came in and he was like, Mr. Fassett, I heard that you work with the needle drop, which I do. And I was like, did you just Google me? Like,
Oh my
I feel
God.
like if I was my student, I would Google all my teachers right away. Like in this day and age, I feel like it's so easy to find
Wow.
stuff. I would just Google everything. So they must know about it, or
Maybe
maybe
they
they
don't
just they don't. I
care.
don't think they care. That's the thing. Like I follow someone on Twitter or X or whatever, and he's a music writer and he's also a teacher. He's a science teacher, and he posts all the time about his students' music taste, and it's like amazing. Like they listen to like amazing artists who are making great work, and then my students come in and they listen to terrible work. So
Hmm.
it is what it is.
When I was in school, like Google wasn't as much of a thing. I don't know, like people weren't as like Googleable,
Right, right,
but
for
I
sure.
guess now it's yeah, totally different time. I was a substitute teacher for a while.
Mm. Were
And
you making music while you were doing that?
yes, it was when I was living in Austin and I was like coming up in music, like starting to put out records, starting to tour, and like that was my day job. I was like tired of working at like bars and restaurants. And
Hmm.
so a friend of mine who was a musician told me about substitute teaching. And he was like, it's amazing because you just like pick up shifts when you want to work. And then when you need to
Hmm.
go on tour or whatever, it's like you don't have to like ask off. You just like don't pick up shifts. So it's like,
Right.
that's perfect. So even though it was like less money, it's funny, it was less money to be a substitute teacher than to like be a waiter, you
Yeah.
know? But I was into it because of the flexibility.
Yeah.
But then kind of towards the end, when like, because I was in high schools mostly, and when the kids started to like get to know me better, they did start to like find stuff and like
Hmm. It's
comment on my
weird.
Instagram and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. And every now and then I'll get a comment on like a YouTube video. It'll be like, you were my sub, like in science class. Like,
Oh, see, it's cute when you're not there anymore.
totally.
But yeah, it is weird. It's weird to have Googleable things about myself. Like I was a film major in college, so like you can find like videos, like films I've made, like short films I've made. You can find writing I've done because I write for Beats per Minute. Um, I do make music, though not under my own name, and I think that's been safe. I'm not sure.
Mm,
But again, as you say, and people have told me this too, like they don't really care. I don't think they
yeah,
care. Like they might think it's hilarious for like a moment and then they're over it. So it's fine.
totally.
So I mean, I hope they know about it. I hope they think it's cool, but I don't think they give a damn. Which is fine because then I get to talk about whatever I want.
Totally.
Um, all right. So yeah, so as you mentioned, like we are in this space now you were touring and you will be touring again soon, where people do know the record. So you've played these songs. I know that this record was particularly specifically personal to some of the things you were going through in the lead up. Um, was it ever like, I mean, it's not that you've never written about yourself before, obviously, but is it ever nerve-wracking to you still to like get super, super vulnerable and then play it on stage?
Not really for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No,
I'm
it's
just
good.
like, it's hard for me to get inspired to write a song unless it's about my life,
Hmm.
really. And so that just happens to be the place where inspiration comes from. And usually it's when I'm really upset. And so a lot of those songs on this record, I might have written 3 years ago or something. So it's like the feeling has changed and evolved, but
Hmm.
the song came, in a particularly acute moment. And I hope that I don't hurt anyone's feelings. I mean, I do think about that. Like, I don't want anyone to get their feelings hurt, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I think that anyone that's been close enough to me to have a song written about them understands.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I think that's a common, maybe not fear, but worry is that like I'm writing this super personal song. I'm not going to name them, obviously, but like if they hear it, they'll know that it's about them. And even though no one else will know, it's like it is that like they're going to know. So
Well,
that
what's
they're
funny about this record is like, I think that people might be surprised, like, not every song is necessarily about who you might think,
right.
so that's kind of a funny thing too, where I'm like, there's all kinds of different things that I went through. Like, I have a good friend who's a songwriter, and he and I were talking about this very thing, and he mentioned one of his like saddest songs, and he was like, that's about a girl I went on one date with. And I'm like, I know what you mean. Like
Yeah.
some of these songs on Timing Accidental, were inspired by like a really brief encounter, but it can
Hmm.
bring stuff out of you that then turns into this whole song and then takes on a life of its own.
Right.
But the real thing it's based off of is actually pretty minor in the big scheme of things, but you get a song out of it.
Right. Right. Yeah, and that's kind of the best is when you like secretly you're like, this is not like this wasn't a huge deal, guys, but I'm gonna
Right.
write this really pained song about it. Yeah, I do love that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like so like because we're being very tangential right now, um, I am currently like in the midst of writing an album that's like all about this friend of mine who's like practically ghosted me at this point, and like
Well,
how painful that is. And I just keep thinking like oh God, if she hears this, like I feel like she'll know. And then on the other hand, I'm like, I don't really care anymore if she knows. Because I feel like there is a
yeah.
little bit of that relinquishing of like, this happened. So let's talk about it. And if you want to talk about your
Mm-hmm.
end, then you write something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And it is kind of nice to get it down, just to get it
Mm-hmm.
down in some way. Um, I also saw in the lead up to this record, this thing about how you said something or you were quoted as saying something to the effect of that your voice felt different on this record.
Mm-hmm.
And liberated, I think was a word you also used. Could you, I don't know if you could expand on that or like what that felt like for you, what that means.
Well, I think that everybody, as time goes on, I think you learn how to sing better, or you learn how to use your voice maybe more effectively. And
Hmm.
I've always thought that the best singers sing kind of how they talk.
Hmm.
And my voice naturally is imperfect and scratchy sometimes and quirky. And my favorite vocalists are that way.
Hmm.
I think I had on my album Sorceress, like, I'm really proud of that record. And I was trying really hard to sing like perfectly on that
Right.
record. That was
Right.
like something that I thought mattered. And I did take after take after take of the vocals because I wanted it to be perfect. And now, I made that record in 2019. So now it's almost 4 years later. And I've learned that actually embracing those imperfections is so much more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And not to dog on my own album, I'm really proud of the record, but when I listen to it, I can hear that I was really trying to like eliminate everything about my voice that made it special, actually.
Yeah.
And so when I went in to make the Plains record, Brad Cook who produced the Plains record, and then Brad Cook also produced my record, Timing Accidental.
Mm-hmm.
So the Plains record was my first time working with him. And I was really nervous about the vocals. And I was like doing all these warm-ups and like really like getting stressed, like about to go in there and like do a bunch of takes. And I just remember Brad being like, the most important thing about the way your voice sounds has everything to do with what's going on up here. And he points like at his mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you just need to relax. Like, don't stress about this. And so with the Plains record, we did a handful of takes and that was it, and I was really skeptical of if that was going to work out. And then it totally worked out. And so then that was a big learning experience for me. And so then when I went in, then I wanted to make my record with Brad because I had such a good experience making the Plains record with him. And so when I went back in to make my record with Brad, it was a very similar approach where I'd kind of like learned that lesson already. And I didn't overthink the vocals. And in fact, like sometimes I would like not even warm up and just record like a scratch vocal. And we'd end up using that, and then when it was like, official vocal time, same deal. Like I would do a couple takes and that was it. And I'm so like happy about that. Cause when I listened to Timing Accidental, like the number one thing that I felt when that album was done and I was listening to it and it was like, nobody had heard it yet. And I was on a long walk, just like listening through it all the way. I felt like, this is me. This feels so me in every way. Like I'm in here and I'm not trying to be something I'm not trying to change this or that. I'm not trying to emulate anyone else. It just is really me. And I think a lot of that has to do with like just not really overthinking a lot of things, but especially the vocals.
Yeah. Is it fun now then on tour to sing the Sorceress songs the way you really, really want to sing them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And it's like freeing.
Yeah. And I have noticed over the course of your discography, your earlier records have a lot more like long songs, kind of more patient, dreamier songs. And then we kind of slowly get up to now. And on Time and Accidental, I'm pretty sure nothing is over 4 minutes. It's like, no fat. It's just like, here is the record. And it feels like there is kind of a through line there of like your development of your songwriting voice,
Yeah. Thank you for noticing. I mean, really, it all kind of started to change with Cosmic Wink because my first two records, I self-released them. I didn't have a label or anything. And I was really just like finding my way as an artist. And like my first record, Native State, I wrote almost entirely on the banjo and, recorded it like in a friend's DIY space and put it out myself. And, Heart Song, like went into a studio and it's more of a live record. And a lot of it was about kind of jamming with the band and creating like a feeling in the room. And a lot of my songs were really sad and really slow because that's just where I was inspired.
Right.
And also I love sad, slow music. So it's also just the music I like. And then I went on this tour where I opened for Kevin Morby in Europe. This would have been in like the fall of 2016.
Okay.
And I was solo opening for him. playing my quiet, contemplative, sad songs.
Mm-hmm.
And then he and his band would take the stage and have a blast. And the crowd had a blast. And I had a blast
Right.
watching every night. And it really got me thinking, like, well, I want to have fun live.
Yeah.
I want to like make songs that people can like sing along and dance to, because yes, I'm really inspired by sad music, but I myself am, I mean, you could probably tell in this conversation, like not really a somber person,
Mm-hmm.
like my personality is different than a lot of the music I was making at that time. And that's what kind of got me started, like just thinking about how to write a catchy song and a shorter
Mm-hmm.
song and a fun song. And then also that was around when I moved to Los Angeles. And so just kind of being in a new environment really opened my mind a lot. And so I think it's just been a journey ever since of like, I didn't really think of myself as a songwriter for a long time. And then I started thinking of myself as a songwriter and thinking about the craft of songwriting
Mm-hmm.
and how to get better at that and what that means. And,
Yeah.
I'm still learning. But yeah, it's definitely been, like you said, a through line through all the records. And like, for example, like on Timing Accidental, one of the saddest songs on that record is called A Few Seasons. And I wrote that song on the piano. It was super long. It was super slow. It was this ballad. It was really sad. And I brought that into my, my first sessions with Brad. And he was like, listen, like the most powerful songs are super fucking sad lyrically, but musically, they don't necessarily have to be. And you can really lose a listener by demanding so much attention and patience,
Right.
And
Right.
so we really reworked that one in the studio and made it, something that really fits with that album. And it's like, I think as a songwriter, you have to like decide, do you want to write songs that people are going to want to listen to and like dance to and sing along to, or do you want to like have a therapy session for
Right.
yourself and like, and maybe sometimes it's both.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely sympathize with that. If I go back and look at like songs I wrote in my early 20s, like first of all, they're not very good, but second of all, like a lot of them are slow and long, 5, 6 minutes. And it's like there's something about, I think, when you're finding your footing as a songwriter that you have this, maybe not everyone, but like the singer-songwriter type people like myself and sort of like when you start off finding your footing, it's like, I got to get all these words down and it has to sound exactly how I feel. And if you're writing a really sad song, it's like naturally my body anyway wants to make it as slow and plodding as possible. And it has long verses and it has like no chorus. And it's just like kind of going on and on. And then yeah, you have to realize, oh, I could like sculpt something out of this, and make like a
Yeah.
new home for it, so to speak.
Yeah, no, it's such a good point. I know exactly what you mean. It's hard, I think, to edit yourself
Yes, exactly.
because like the songs are so personal and you want, every verse, it's like it means so much to you as the author of the song. And that's something that I've been learning over the last couple of years is like, yes, and maybe I needed to write that song that way that night at my piano.
Hmm.
But then when you're actually making a record, it's helpful, I think, too, to like have a producer or a collaborator that you really trust to say, like,
Yeah,
let's take out that verse. We don't
right.
need that verse. The song's stronger without it. Sometimes it can be hard to see that when you're by yourself.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it's hard to be in a vacuum and have any sort of critical eye on your work. Like, I make all my shit completely alone, and I would probably never post anything or upload anything or publish anything now without sending it at least to a couple people, be like, hey, like, I'm too in this and I've heard this 57 times. Like, can you point at something I'm not
Mhm.
seeing? Because yeah, you're too in it sometimes. You're too involved in that world.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of your voice, literally of your voice, another thing that I noticed in the Plains uh, press cycle was a lot of talk about accents,
Mm.
because you and Katie both have these Southern accents, that she at least said, I felt like I was suppressing mine for so many years. And so now, like, finally being able to feel comfortable, like, no, this is my voice and this is what you're going to get. And it does feel like on this record of yours that your natural voice and your natural accent kind of comes out a little bit more. I mean, was that something you noticed while you were doing it?
Not really. I didn't really notice it because it's kind of that thing of not just letting my voice kind of just be
Right.
natural and just how it sounds and not doing a bunch of takes.
Mm-hmm.
So it just sort of happened. And I think it wasn't really intentional. It's just kind of like, I think all part of this process of like becoming more comfortable just being myself. Because
Right.
I think like for me, it was less the like accent thing. Like I know that Katie had that experience. For me, it was like I just wasn't really proud of Texas for a long time. Like
Yeah.
growing up in Texas, I just wanted to get out. I just
Mm-hmm.
wanted to move to New York or LA or Paris, as soon as possible because the whole world was somewhere else. Like
Right.
it certainly wasn't in Dallas, Texas. And then and I think this happens to a lot of people actually. Like it took me moving away to really appreciate Texas and where
Right.
I'm from. It's like I had to kind of lose it to appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, my record Cosmic Wink, like it's funny. It's like when I listened to like my first two records, Native State and Heart Song, that's when I was living in Texas in Austin. And I wasn't like trying to make a record that sounded any sort of way, but like when I moved to LA and I made Cosmic Wink, I was like, okay, this is like my LA record. It's like I moved to LA. And then starting with Sorceress, that was the first record where I really intentionally wanted to involve country elements because I was having this experience of falling in love with country music. It like
Mm-hmm.
took me moving to LA to really start falling in love with country music again.
Yeah, that makes sense though. I mean, are you based in Texas now?
Well, I'm like a part-time person. So
Okay.
I'm part-time in LA and I'm part-time in Marfa, Texas. Have you ever heard of Marfa? That's
I
where I am
have
right
heard of
now.
Marfa, yes. There
So
there's
I'm
there's lots
splitting
of
time.
art there.
Yes, there is. Yeah. So I'm like splitting time, but it's kind of like I split my time between three places because like the third place is tour.
Right,
So,
right.
um, but I love LA a lot and I don't know how much longer I'm going to keep the LA part going just because I really love Texas. I don't know that Marfa can be my 100% of the time place because it's so remote.
Mm-hmm.
But I just love Texas and it's like where I want to be. It's where I want to really put roots down. It's where I feel at home. And now that I am touring a lot, it's it's just like the place that I want to come home to.
Yeah. So my last question about Time and Accidental specifically is about this glorious cover art that you have,
Mm.
which is so fun and like strange and yet very indicative, I think, of the record in some ways. So for those who don't know, if you have not seen the record, it is you on the front with this sort of big smile, and in the background is this like purple burst of lightning. And so it is this like dichotomy between this like very pleasant, almost like I don't know what to call it. Like almost like I wanted to say coy smile, and it kind of is, I guess, in a way. But in the back, there's this raging storm. And I'm wondering, how did you get there? And then how did you know like that was the image for this record?
Well, out here in Marfa, lightning like that is not uncommon, actually. Um, certain times of year, especially during the summer, there will just like be lightning storms. And so over the years, I've seen, friends of mine capture photos like that, where it's like there's this one photo that a friend of mine took of his girlfriend at the time. And she's just like standing like kind of in the middle of the road with this like crazy lightning behind her. And then, so when I was thinking about what I wanted the cover to be, I felt like I knew I wanted lightning. And my boyfriend actually shot that photo. And basically it was this thing where, it wasn't like a big planned shoot because you can't plan for the lightning. So we just went out like over and over and over again. I would just like put the dress on and we would just go to like different areas around, because I was in Marfa at the time, just like different areas around town where like we could hopefully get a good view of lightning. And that was like, we were actually trespassing because like right after he shot that photo, this like truck pulled up and like kind of like gave us a hard time and way to leave, but it was like, I think we got it. But my computer was broken. And so we were just shooting on like this old digital camera I have from like so long ago. And we could just barely see like the little back screen. And I could tell, but it was like, I couldn't totally tell, but I was pretty sure we had it. And then I finally like got a new computer once I got back to LA and like pulled it up and it was like, yeah, there it is. Like, that's just it. I mean, it just worked. And the thing is like the lightning thing for me, symbolically, it's everything you're saying about like, there's this storm in the background, but also to me, it really speaks to this idea of like, there are no accidents, like like being able to capture lightning is like, in a photo feels like it must be an accident. But to me, like the real message of the album is there are no accidents and like everything happens for a reason, including like the way time works out and timing of things. And you can't really plan, there's like this phrase, like, when we make plans, God laughs, and there is this bigger plan unfolding and you can just kind of trust that it's going to be okay, even if things seem like they're really not working out according to your plan.
Right.
There are really no accidents.
Yeah. And I mean, capturing lightning, it sounds like an accident, but at the same time, it almost can't be. It like has to be intentional because it's so quick. You have to try to capture lightning. So yeah, that's kind of an interesting like subversion of that idea. And all, like, was it important to you for it to be Texan lightning?
Yeah.
So maybe this is going to be a big or maybe slightly unfair question, but I was doing these notes and I was like looking at some past press material and past like reviews and stuff. And throughout the reviews of this record, there are quite a few mentions of some of the greats of this genre, which you probably already are aware of, but people, like Emmylou Harris and Lucinda Williams and like these voices that have been around for decades and are totally, totally, totally lionized. What does it mean for you as someone who is at a very different point in your career than people like them who are now fully embracing your love of this kind of music? Like, what does it mean for you to be included in that kind of company?
It's such an honor.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I love reviews. I love reading reviews. I think it's
Put that on the box,
cool.
people.
I think it's so cool that someone would listen to my music and take the time to write something about it.
Yeah.
And, it doesn't mean I like everything that gets said.
Right.
But I think it's such a fascinating, cool little, what's the word I'm looking for? Like it's not normal. Do you know what I mean? Like that's not a normal experience, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so it's like, I love it. Like when stuff comes out, people wrote about my record and that someone would be thoughtful and take the time. And then to compare me to people who are my heroes is really it's amazing because those people are huge influences on me. And so I just think how cool that could be coming across, and like,
Mm-hmm.
and Emmylou Harris, especially, I mean, I really love her. And Bonnie Raitt is another one. I actually got to meet her recently and I started crying. I was like, not cool at all. I did not in any way keep my cool. But like these women that, they're a few generations older than me and they are performing and making records and singing, that's the kind of career that I want to have. I never, saw myself as like someone that would kind of just do it when I was young and then like move on. Like it would just always seemed like I just want to, I want to be, 65 up there, like performing and singing is just the only thing I want to do. And so I love that, when people talk about my music, they're talking about women like that. I hope that I'm so lucky as to be able to like have a long career like them. And like someone like Bonnie Raitt, like she would like her career has been a slow burn. Like she's just now getting Grammys and all. Well, that's not true. I think she did when she was younger get a Grammy, but like last year she won for Song of the Year, like crazy,
Right.
and I feel that way about me. Like I didn't have like a ton of early success. It's been a slow, kind of steady thing, and I'm hoping it continues and I can stick around for a long time, but I get I see like a lot of these young kids and they get like a ton of success early on. And I wonder like where they'll be in 10 years,
Right.
So for me, I'm just like, cool. If y'all are comparing me to Emmylou Harris, maybe that means we'll still be talking in 30 years.
Maybe. I hope that'd be awesome. I hope so.
I hope so too.
Yeah, because it's not like these are greats who, released a string of albums in the 70s and then that was it. Like these are greats who are still going and who are still influencing all these years on. So yeah, I mean, we would all be so lucky to be involved in a conversation with them,
Yeah.
If you had like a Mount Rushmore of people in this genre, like do you know like roughly who you would put up there?
Ooh, that's such a cool question. Okay, how many people are on Mount Rushmore? Is it 5?
It's 4, I think.
It's 4. Okay. Leonard Cohen, Bonnie Raitt, Bob Dylan, Call Me Basic. Bob
No,
Dylan is
hey,
on there. Emmylou Harris.
sure. Why not? Why not include Emily?
Yeah.
And I mean, there are so many people who are phenomenal in this vein, in this
Ooh,
folk and Americana vein.
Can I add a fifth one?
It's your mountain. Do whatever you want.
I'm adding a fifth one, and it's Terry Allen.
Oh, I don't know them.
Oh, Terry Allen. He is a Texas artist, visual artist, and songwriter, musician. A great place to start with his music is this album called Lubbock on Everything. He's from Lubbock. He's from the Texas Panhandle. Moved to LA when he was really young with his wife to be a visual artist. Did actually make a name for himself in the art world. He makes sculptures, painting, like he's a genius. But he also has made these quirky, funny, incredible albums that are stories. Each song is a story. I mean, it's incredible music. So I would have to add Terry Allen to my Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I'm glad that we had one that I didn't know, and I wonder if he is a bit undersung in this genre.
Yeah, he's a little bit niche, I think.
Yeah.
He's not like as well known.
Yeah.
But he definitely has like a cult following.
Okay. Yeah, that seems like the kind of person that would have a cult following. Um, and then as for like super recent stuff, I mean, do you listen to this kind of music on your own? Like, are there country Americana folk records from the past year or two that you think we like really need to listen to?
Well, yes, I can tell you like
Besides
some
Time and
artists.
Accidental, of
Of course,
course.
yes, my record. I really like Miranda Lambert.
Okay.
I really like Casey Musgraves.
Okay.
There's this girl I recently met in Nashville whose music I love. Her name's Bella White, and she put out a beautiful record recently that Jonathan Wilson produced that I love.
Okay.
I also love Esther Rose. She lives
Mm.
in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and has a really cool record that came out this year that I love. Who else? My friend Anna St. Louis just put out a really gorgeous record.
Hmm.
Um,
There's so much good stuff.
I know my friend Ben Schwab has a band called Sylvie that I adore, and my friend Sam Burton put out an amazing record this year, also produced by Jonathan Wilson.
I mean, that's a
There's
good
so much
list.
good music. And then just today, not in this genre at all, but the
Mm.
Andre 3000 flute
Oh,
record came out,
yes.
and I've been listening all morning. I'm obsessed.
Well, isn't it like 2 hours long?
Is it?
I don't know. I feel it looked really long to me, but I don't actually know.
I'm so curious, actually, how
For
long
those
it
who for
is.
those who are not aware, because the news did just break. I mean, you're aware by the time you're listening to this, I'm sure. But
It's
Andre
an hour and a
3000.
half,
Oh,
an
there
hour
you
and a
go.
half long.
90
Yeah.
minutes. Andre 3000 just put out what is remarkably his first solo album, which is bizarre. Of 90 minutes of like flute drone music, ambient music.
Mhm.
So cool.
Yeah, it's really good
And not Americana at all, but in a way, you
in a
could make
way.
that case.
In a way.
Um, One last question that I solicited from my beats per minute brethren, because I always ask, hey, I'm interviewing so and so later. Any questions you guys want to know? Our reviews editor asked what you hope to get out of this Adrianne Lenker songwriting class,
Oh my
which
God.
is an amazing
Okay.
piece of news.
Okay. So here's what's so crazy. So I had a dream about Adrianne Lenker. And in the dream, we were emailing.
Mm,
And it was like in the dream, I had emailed her something, not expecting a response. And in my dream, she wrote back this like really long, thoughtful, beautiful response. And then I woke up the next day and I see on the internet that she's teaching a songwriting workshop. And
mm,
then I read the description that I assume she wrote about the workshop. And one of the things that she says is that one of the things she wants to focus on is she believes that songs really come from your unconscious mind, and that
mhm,
really the work as a songwriter is to do what we need to do to make sure that that isn't blocked, that that channel isn't blocked, so that we can access that place.
mm.
And I am working on writing right now because I have some downtime, and I am working on writing my next record. And I read that description and I was just like, she was in my dream last night. We were emailing, and now there's a songwriting workshop. Like, I'm just going to sign up.
You have to, yeah.
And I signed up, and I really love her music. I think she's an amazing songwriter. And so, I mean, really, what I hope to gain is just maybe a little bit of an expanded mind around songwriting. Like, I think something that I do that is a strength with my songwriting is I'm really like pretty literal. Like, I really feel like it's important to tell a cohesive story in my songs.
Hmm.
And I'll kind of obsess over just like one or two words. Like, how do you make this like a really complete thought? And something I noticed about her songwriting is it's sort of the opposite. It's like a lot of images and
Hmm.
feelings and textures. And I stop myself from doing that, I think, because I feel like, oh, that's not clear. That's not the story. But what she does is really powerful. And so I'm curious if by doing this songwriting workshop, if maybe I can learn to do that or be pushed to like experiment
Hmm.
and do that. And maybe it leads me somewhere totally new.
Yeah. I've done one of the School of Songs before with Laura Veres.
Oh, cool.
And it was fun. I mean, that was I think that was a much smaller, I think, class than this is gonna be because Adrian Linker's like I mean, Big Thief is huge.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna be a crowded room of cool, talented, interested people. But it's fun, and you come out with 4 songs, even if you don't like love them. You come out with 4 songs, and then that's
Wow, that's
four
cool.
things. Yeah, if if you do the homework, you
Yes.
come out with 4 songs, and that was really neat. I have my 4 songs still. They're not perfect because you write them pretty quickly. But it's kind of cool to see like with these lessons and prompts and ideas and things you like missions you have to accomplish for this song. At least that's how Laura ran hers. It was interesting and it was a cool little exercise. So yeah, I think it'll be great. I mean, I am a big Thief fan, but I think I'm a bigger Adrianne Lenker fan.
Yeah.
Her two
I know what
solo
you mean.
records, her two solo records are just stunning records.
Yeah. I
Like
know.
unbelievable songwriting, like out of this world. And I like Big
Yeah,
Thief, but there's
she's really
something about
special.
there's something about her undistilled that I'm or distilled, I should say, that's just like so
Hmm.
cool. So yeah, that'll be fun. Um, all right, well, that's all my notes. That's all I've got. Um,
Cool.
yeah, so as we said at the top, this was not a promo. This is not really a promo chat. This is a reflection. This is a
Nice.
year in review of Jess Williamson, who put out oh geez, fifth record?
Yeah.
Fifth record, I guess, right. Time Ain't Accidental on Mexican Summer back in June. You can stream it, buy it, listen to it now, and you are going on tour in the winter, so that'll be cool. Um, Thank you so much for hanging out for a bit today. It's been fun.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.